who's just coming through the door, been outside parking cars.
I got a little Jimmy.
I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming. And I want to tell you a little bit about our little country church, as I call it. We have summer services, 10 o'clock, Sunday morning. You all are welcome. Please, come and check it out. We have a fantastic band who plays. In the fall, that's for the summer, 10 o'clock. In the fall through the spring, we have two services. We have a traditional service at 9 o'clock, and then contemporary service 11:15. The band is at the contemporary service, but we also have a small and yet wonderful choir. I'm a member. At the traditional service. In between, we have Sunday school, and that includes 2 adult classes. We have all ages covered, trust me. We also have this beautiful hall, as you can see. In my opinion, the word about this hall does not get out enough. Third Sunday, once again, fall to spring, or well, September to June, I guess it is. We have a coffee house, third Saturday of the month, 7 o'clock. Different bands, different performers. Our own Good News Band comes in once or twice a year. Second Saturday of the month, we generally have what is called the Gathering of Hope Community. Originally, it was supposed to be towards millennials. It has now become an intergenerational. We feed you if you come to that. There's also a message involved, of course. And a lot of the times I've noticed that there is a little community project that is done as well. Lots of fun for everybody. Now, this month, this is the month of July now. This month, July 23rd to 27th, most of you in here, let's see, kids, grandkids, I'm sure we could use help too still. Vacation Bible School. People don't realize this is a very important part of a child's life. My granddaughter went for the first time last year. At the end of the week, she said, "Grandma, when can I go again?" She had never been before. Needless to say, she's already signed up for this year. So, July 23rd to 27th, 9 o'clock until noon every day. If you're interested, the back table, there's pamphlets. Please, grab them, register them online. Jack's waving one right now back there. Everybody's welcome. If you're interested in this hall, or even any other information about the services or whatnot, please see me. If I don't know the answer, I will get you one. Okay? Once again, thank you everybody for coming. What's that, Joyce? I'm working on it. Now, I would like to introduce to you Pastor Jim Walt. He is our minister here, and he's going to come up and give an opening prayer for us.
First of all, I'd like to thank Penny Short right here, and Randy. They're right here. And all the helpers here at Our Savior, and obviously welcome to all guests, but thank you for doing this, Penny, and bringing me on Rich here. Thanks for coming, Rich. Let's take a moment and dedicate our afternoon and our concert to the Lord this afternoon. We are here for a gospel concert as well as some patriotic songs. Let's pray. Lord, we give you thanks for the blessings we have, for the blessings of this wonderful hall, all of our people, all of our guests, and especially Rich. Bless his singing today and his ministry and his work. May he bring the word of God to all of us today through the songs of gospel. For it's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Amen.
For any of you who don't know, I'd like to introduce Mr. Rich Wilson.
Sit down, Penny. Usually when I talk to Penny, it means work. I was not aware I was doing this until my wife told me I was doing this. Penny called my wife and she said, "Well, you ask Rich." She said, "Don't worry about it, he'll do it." So we're going to do it. We're glad you all came out today. Is there anybody seeing me for the first time? How do you know it's me? Because Penny said so. Yeah, I got you. We're going to try to change things up here a little different than I normally do, which means there's no dancing on the floor. We're going to sit today. I want you to hurt yourself. A little bit later we'll talk about my testimony, but I have a few things I'd like to speak to you about, read to you about. Over the years I've had some people say that they're a little bit unsure of whether or not God heard their prayers. You get into situations and you're not sure that God is really listening. God hears your every prayer. He delights when we come to Him and ask Him for help. That's what He waits for. He wants you to talk to Him. He wants you to pray to Him. Sometimes the answers we get from our prayers aren't always what we want. We all know that. We've heard that. Sometimes they take a lot longer than we would like. But none of that is really an absence of prayer. God hears every prayer, no matter what method of praying you use, whether it's speaking or you're singing or just thinking. Even our actions can be a prayer to God. Truth is that God is waiting to hear from all of us. It is said that the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and His ears are attentive to their cry. God never sleeps. He's always available to hear our prayer. So we got to humble ourselves and seek Him. I think that's a very important thing to remember, that you have to seek God. And you'll find out, if you seek Him, He will answer one way or another. And you'll know that He cares. Isn't that a worry? Does He really care? Yes, He cares. Which leads me to the first song. Hopefully. I know He cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I used to look up in the starry sky and wonder how the Lord would hear my cry. How happy I would be if the Lord would hear my plea and listen to a sinner such as I. And listen to a sinner such as I. Then I heard about how Jesus was born, laid in a manger to keep warm. He was rich, but He was poor. Now I can be sure that Jesus really, really cared. I know He cared. I know He cared. I know Jesus cares for me. He was born in poverty to prove to you and me just how much He really, really cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I used to wonder if God could forgive. Did He really care if I live? And because of all my sin, will I fail to enter in and miss that heaven up above? And miss that heaven up above? Then I heard about how Jesus died. For my sins He was crucified, but He rose from the grave. Now God can really save. Yes, I know He really, really cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I know Jesus cares for me. He died upon a tree to prove to you and me just how much He really, really cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I know Jesus just how much He really, really cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I know He cares. I know Jesus cares for me. You won't see me drink a lot today, and there's no telling what's in here because Roger gave it to me. He said, don't worry about it, just drink it. I'll be holy water. Do you realize that God is the only being incapable of lying? Everybody else can do it. It's true. Everything God said would happen has happened. Everything. Just as He said it would. You can read in our Bibles that one common thread that runs right on through God's recorded statements, basically, are that they are all true. God has never gone back on His promise, like so many do. He has never made what we all know as an honest mistake. Likewise, Jesus is completely honest. Even when telling the truth, a very hard truth. Jesus meant putting Himself in danger just to tell the truth. God cannot lie. Jesus cannot lie. It's the way it is. I like your hat, Pastor. I like it. There's got to be a mansion in the sky waiting just for me. There's got to be, because Jesus cannot lie. There's got to be a home when I die, waiting just for me. There's got to be, because Jesus cannot lie. Gotta be in heaven there, where streets are made of gold. Jesus died upon the cross, so you and I could go. There's gotta be a city in the sky waiting just for me. There's gotta be, because Jesus cannot lie. There's gotta be a Savior I will see with the stars in His hand. There's gotta be everlasting life. Gotta be a heaven there where streets are made of gold. Jesus died upon the cross, so you and I could go. There's gotta be a home when I die, 'cause I've got nothing here. There's gotta be, there's just gotta be, there's gotta be, there's just gotta be. Just gotta be, because Jesus can't lie. I took a moment when I got in here to walk around and shake everybody's hand and say hello. Most of you, some of you got here late. Walk around around and shake your hand. So I'd like you to do me a favor. Those of you that can do it, everybody just stand up. Stand up, stand up. You can do it, I'm sure. Now do me a favor and shake your neighbor's hand right to the left. Just give him a shake. Say hello, say hello. Give him a hug, it's okay. Take that moment to do so. I like to see that. It's nice to be friendly. Wonderful. That didn't hurt, did it? You would think so with some of the groans I heard when you stood up. Oh. I recorded this song a little while back, and a lot of folks fell in love with it just as I did. And it's a song called He's All That I Need. And it's true. That's all we ever need right there. You okay with it? You comfortable? Should have brought your cushion. Put your leg up on it. That's good. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want for anything. When my soul is thirsty, living waters He brings. In the righteous paths, my Savior leads me. Jesus is all that I have. He's all that I need. Jesus is all that I have. He's all that I need. He leads me beside still waters and pastures of green. All the days of my life, His mercy shall follow me. Jesus is all that I have. He's all that I need. It's true, isn't it? What else do you need? Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup overflows. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me everywhere that I go. Though I walk through the valley of death, He'll be with me. Jesus is all that I have. He's all that I need. Jesus is all that I have. He's all that I beside still waters and pastures of green. All the days of my life, His mercy shall follow me. Jesus is all that I have. He's all that I need. Jesus is all that I have. He's all that I beside still waters and pastures of green. All the days of my life, His mercy shall follow me. Jesus is all that I have. He's all that I need. Jesus is all that I have. He's all that I need. That's all you gotta think about. That's all I need. And this water. Just to get me through it. It's so good to see so many of you here. And anytime you feel like singing along, I hope that you'll do so if you know how to sing. If you don't know how to sing, please don't. Just mess me right up. Just throw me off, some of you. I could hear a couple of you in the back. But here's one everybody can sing along with. I like the old-time gospel songs. And here's one that's definitely an old-time gospel song, and chances are you're going to know the words. Hopefully I will. Oh, give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. And it's good enough for me. It was good for my mother. It was good for my mother. It was good for my mother. And it's good enough for me. Oh, give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. And it's good enough for me. It was good for my father. It was good for my father. It was good for my father. And it's good enough for me. Sing nice and loud. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. And it's good enough for me. It makes me love everybody. Makes me love everybody. Makes me love everybody. And it's good enough for me. Come on. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. Give me that old-time religion. And it's good enough for me. I give me that old-time religion. And it's good enough for I'm glad you were singing because I forgot the words. I was reading your lips. Some of you forgot the words, Randy. This is, I'm going to reach way back now. This is a very old gospel song. You've probably heard it your whole life. And my mom used to like this song. And my grandmother would come over many times on the weekends. She'd spend the weekends at our house from Friday until Sunday. And she would play gospel songs all weekend long. As young kids, we couldn't wait for her to go. Please, please, please. I mean, a little bit here and there would have been fine. And she would sing this song, and my grandmother couldn't sing. She was deaf, but she would try to sing. And she was so bad with her hearing. I would call her on the phone, and she had a little dial on the phone that would turn it up for her hearing aid. And I would call her, and I'd have to say, "Graham! Graham!" She'd say, "Who's this?" I said, "It's Richard." She said, "He's not here right now." Click. Needless to say, I didn't call her too often. But this happened to be one of her favorite songs as well. Is your stomach growling over there, Randy? I know. Now, on the hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for the world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true. Its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home far away, where his glory forever I'll share. And I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. See, you paid to listen to Grandma once in a while. I come from a rather, I would consider it a large family. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. And I would have been happy with maybe 1. Some of you know what I'm talking about. You got brothers and sisters, that many. I was the first born boy. I have 2 older sisters, Rose and May. Then I came along and they hated me because I got everything I wanted. I was that first boy. They'd be watching TV and my grandfather would come in and say, "Let him watch what he wants." I was 2 years old. I said, "Yeah." And to this very day, it's still the same. My sisters spoil me, take good care of me. And that's a good thing, because I like it that way. Sometimes they test me. I start wondering how strong I am. I wonder how my faith is. How strong is my faith? You got to think about that. How strong is your faith in God? Do you realize that with just the tiniest little bit of faith, you can make just about anything and everything happen? It's true. If we read in Matthew 17:20, we will see there where Jesus said to his disciples, he said, "Because you have so little faith, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say this to a mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing is impossible for you." So I truly, really just ask yourself, how strong is my faith? If it's just this little bit, imagine what you can do. You can turn around and just move a tree from here to there. Move a mountain. Move your neighbor off your lawn. When troubles pile high like a mountain in the sky, don't just sit around feeling blue. There's no need to cry if on Jesus you rely. Nothing is impossible for you. You can move that mountain, move that mountain. Don't wait until tomorrow about today. You can move that mountain, move that mountain. Wherever there's a will, there's a way. Right? side. Don't let worries cloud your mind with fear. Hold your head up high, trust in Jesus Christ. All your troubles soon will disappear. You can move that mountain, move that mountain. Don't wait until tomorrow, start today. You can move that mountain, move that mountain. Wherever there's a will, there's a way. I promise you can do it. When life is cold and bleak, like a snow-capped mountain peak, don't give up your hopes in despair. Jesus is the way, believe in Him today. Your troubles all will vanish in the air. You can move that mountain, move that mountain. Don't wait until tomorrow, start today. You can move that mountain, move that mountain. Wherever there's a will, there's a way. Wherever there's a will, there's a way. I said, wherever there's a will, there's a way. How true is that, Pastor? That's true, isn't it? Absolutely. You want to come in and just relax and enjoy yourself, you go right ahead and do that. Just stop snoring while I'm working over there, lady. Reminds me of a story. This pastor was standing up at the pulpit. There was an old gentleman sitting there, snoring away during the whole sermon. He kept getting louder and louder. Pastor wasn't too happy about it. Finally, he walked down to the gentleman's wife. He said, you know, he's really disturbing me up here. Would you do me a favor and wake him up? She looked at the pastor. She said, no, you wake him up. You're the one who put him to sleep. Now I'm going to tell you another one. A story about a little boy. He came into the house. He said to his mama, he said, Mama, I would like a bike. She said, would you really? He said, yeah, I'd like to have a bike right now. She said, that's not how it works here. She said, if you want something, you go and you pray for it. You ask Jesus for it. So he goes back to his room, he sits down, he's got a little desk there, and he thinks to himself, how am I going to do this? So he grabs a pencil and a paper, and he starts to write to Jesus. He said, Dear Jesus, if I'm good for a whole month, can I have a bike? Then he thought about it. Boy, a month is an awful long time to be good. So he tore that paper up and tossed it away. Then he wrote, Dear Jesus, if I'm good for 2 weeks, can I have a bike? That was good. Then he thought about it. 2 weeks is an awful long time to be good. So he crumpled that up and threw it away. Sat there thinking. As he was thinking, he noticed he had a little statue of the Mother Mary on his dresser. He took it down, he's looking at it, and found a little shoelace. And he's just wrapping it around the statue as he's thinking. He's wrapping away. He takes the statue and he sets it in a little shoebox. Sticks it under the bed. He goes over to his desk and he writes, Dear Jesus, if you ever want to see your mother again, send me a bike. Kids. That's how they would think, right? You can use that next week, Pastor. It's okay. Most of you know I have a wonderful wife, Amy. She's up here in front. Amy is the... All right, that's enough. We have 4 children.
We have 4 because we don't want 5. And we have 3 beautiful grandchildren. We have Nicholas, who is 8, Lucas, who is 5, and little Reagan Lucille, who is about 2.5. Named her Reagan because we're Republicans at our house. But my wife and I have always had moments in our life, in our marriage. When our second to oldest son, Ryan, was very tiny, we lived in an apartment where you could hear a pin drop from the other side of the building. You know, it was very small. My wife is recently doing the ancestry thing. Let's not go there. It's scary what we've been finding. She had an uncle that fought the Civil War. He fought for the West. But Ryan, when he was a little boy, came running in, and he said to his mother, he said, "Mommy, how are people made?" And I could hear this whole conversation right around the corner. She said, "Well, first it was Adam and Eve, and they had babies, and then they grew up, and they had babies, and so on and so forth." So the child runs around the corner to me and says, "Dad, how are people made?" I said, "Well, first we were monkeys. And then we evolved into what we are now." So the kid runs back to his mother. He says, "Mommy, you lied." She said, "No, I didn't. Your father was talking about his side of the family." She gets me back all the time. I wake up every day and I'm feeling great because I have so many blessings. I have a wonderful family, healthy, got some great friends. I have God. And I feel great because I know with all my heart that I believe in Jesus Christ. Okay? It's so easy to believe. Just look around you. Just look around at this beautiful world. Now, I'm sure many of you have said this to your children, to your grandchildren. Just look. You can't deny anything. You know, we get up in different lives. We have different types of things we do. We work. Some of us actually go to work. Some of us just work at things. But according to Jesus, we have a different type of work that God expects from us. The work God wants from us is the easiest work of all. He wants us to believe in the one whom God has sent to us. That's it. That's the only job. He wants us to believe in Jesus Christ. Period. That's it. It's an easy job. Believe in Jesus and tell everyone about him. So we're going to do a song that pretty much sums it up. Somewhere above, there is a somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows, a candle glows. I believe for everyone who goes astray, someone will come to show the way. Above the storm, the smallest prayer can still be heard. Can still be heard. I believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. one time or another, we've all lost someone very near and very dear. But you know, I believe there's no cause for any fear, because I believe that there's someone up above watching over them and watching over us. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, oh tenderly, oh see the sky, they light a It's warm now, not the water, me. Settle down back there. Send you to the pastor's office and you're in trouble. And make you laugh. He's wearing shorts. I love the words of the song. There is no God but God. I know this is true. God made everything. He made me, He made you. There'd be no birds, no planes to sail in the blue without His wondrous eyes to see them through. They say that God made land and He gave it all to man. This I know is mighty good and true. There is no God but God, and He knows everything you do. So just you call on Him and He will share His love with you. There is no God but God. I know this is true. God made everything. He made me, He made you. There'd be no birds, no planes to sail in the blue without His wondrous eyes to see them through. They say that God made land and He gave it all to man. This I know is mighty good and true. There is no God but God, and He knows everything you do. So just you call on Him and He will share His love with you. So just you call on Him and He will share His love with you. There's a little something I need to talk about. A while back, Amy and I walked away from a church that we belonged to because we didn't like the way that they treated a family that was there. They seemed to lean at that church toward the people who had money and cars and fine clothes. We just couldn't understand how people could could be like that. There was a family who tried so hard to fit in. They didn't have much. You could tell. It was okay. And every Sunday, we sat behind this family, and the father had a little purse. And he gave each one of his family members some change for a donation. And they would try so hard. They would come and they'd try to help in the kitchen, and they'd say, no thanks. And they would try to help outside. Two different things, no thanks. They were trying to discourage this family from showing up, but they showed up anyway. And one Sunday, they got their way. The folks at the church, instead of passing around the usual collection plate, they had a net they put on the end of a pole. And the net was that wide, each hole. There was no way you could put change into that net. So they walked down, and folks were throwing bills in there, and they stopped, and they put it in front of the family. And they all had their change in their hand. And they were totally embarrassed. And they waited for this family to put something in there. They were devastated. We were devastated. They got up and they left. We got up and left. We never came back. I don't understand that way of thinking. You don't see it too often, thankfully. What good does it do to have these material things? Does it do you any good at all? Have you ever seen a hearse with a luggage rack? No. You're not taking anything with you. What we do need is, of course, you need enough to live peacefully. Things we need to survive. Really, that's about all we need. And it's important that we have when we know Jesus. It's really important to have someone very important on that list of people that you know. The one most important name on your list of someone you need to know is Jesus. This next song is a perfect example of what I'm saying to you. Scared myself. It's not what you have, but it's who you know. You can have a fortune, and one day you'll go. You'll have your money, but you'll lose your soul. It's not what you have, but it's who you know. Do you testify? Tell about His word. Make sure it's known. Make sure it's heard. Do you plant a seed? Do you pray and plead that before they die, they will believe? It's not what you have, but it's who you know that determines where one day you'll go. You can have a fortune, still lose your soul. It's not what you have, but it's who you know. Isn't that true? Doesn't matter. Give it all away. Give it to me. You may have a house high on a hill. You may have the money to pay all your bills, but if you don't know Jesus Christ, your money won't buy eternal life. It's not what you have, but it's who you know that determines where one day you'll go. You can have a fortune and lose your soul. It's not what you have, but it's who you know. It's not what you have, but it's who you know that determines where
one day you'll go. You can have a fortune and lose your soul. It's not what you have, but it's who you know. It's not what you have, but it's who you know. That determines where someday you'll go. You can have that fortune and still lose your soul. It's not what you have, but it's who you know. It's not what you have, but it's who you know. It's not what you have, but it's who you know. What a message! Doesn't matter, does it? Don't mind me for hemming and hawing, because Penny gave me a list of things to do, and I forgot them all. Yeah. I told her to give me a list, and then I didn't bother. I'm going to tell you a little bit about where I did come from. I was born a baby.
Good place to start.
I'm still a baby. I was born in Paterson, New Jersey. There's only 2 fat people ever came from Paterson, New Jersey. Me and Lou Costello. They put a statue up for him. As I said, I had 3 brothers and 3 sisters. When I was about 5 years old, I began having really terrible kidney infections. They were beating me up. As a little boy, they hurt. And every year, it seemed there was another infection, another kidney infection. And you learn to live with it, deal with an uncomfortable feeling once in a while. But what was more uncomfortable is I had 2 parents that were terrible alcoholics. And in that household, there was a lot of abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse. Not a lot of physical abuse, but mentally it tore you up, because they would come home and they would fight. They would have fist fights, these 2. And we as children would listen to this. Sometimes night after night after night. And at one point my father took off and my mother stayed and still drank. And it got worse and worse, to the point to where she would invite boyfriends over and they would drink and fight. And I would lay in bed at night, half awake, while my siblings slept. And I'd listen. And here I was, a 10-year-old boy. I would listen to see if they were coming in angry or not. If they were going to fight, I was scared. I had knots in my stomach. I should have had ulcers. And I would sneak up the steps, and if I heard they were in a bad mood, I'd try to put them in a good mood, because I didn't want them to fight. That's the way a kid thinks, you know. And sometimes they would fight so terrible, it was frightening. They would throw things at one another, chairs. It was just not a good way to live. And many times we were cast out. I was about 12 and a half years old. My mother came home one day in some kind of a stupor. She said, "I noticed you didn't vacuum the rug." I said, "No, I stopped at the hospital. I saw my friend." She said, "It's no excuse. Your clothes are out on the lawn." I was 12 years old. So I went out and I found my clothes. I gathered them up, put them in a little duffel bag, and walked. And I walked around town, and I slept in people's cars at night. I slept on park benches. And it was not a good position to be in at 12 and a half years old. And my mother never came to look for me either. And I worried about the other children that were still at home. Eventually, a friend of mine who was a police officer in a little town that we lived in, he would take me and put me in the back of the car, his squad car, and he would drive me around so I could sleep a little bit. Throw a blanket over me. One time I slept in somebody's car, and I remember I stole their wool blanket. I've always regretted that, but I stole it because I needed to keep warm. And
I would sneak into these little cars at night, making sure that it was late, and I'd make sure I got up early before they came out and found me. I would take my showers at the school. And that's where I ate my food. Usually my one meal a day was lunch, so I got to eat. And so the school eventually caught on to what was happening. And they told me that I was going to have to be put into a foster care away from that area. But I wanted to go to school with the kids that I went to school with. I wanted to finish school with them. So this is the most remarkable part, is that the teachers kind of band together, and they could have gotten in trouble for this, folks. The teachers took me in a month at a time into their homes. Many of them gave me little jobs, like mowing the lawn, because they knew I needed the money, or babysitting. I introduced my wife to my drama coach, my English teacher. He was both. And he told the same story, how he would take me in and say, okay, here, I need a baby. He didn't need a babysitter, he just needed to help me out. So I took on a job at 13 years old. I worked for something called the CETA program, and that was Pennsylvania's way of giving young people work. And I worked for crazy, I painted historical signs, and I did janitor work at the school, and eventually I was almost a full-time custodian. I was making about $40 a week. I was rich. In the morning, I would go to the office and they'd give me some office work to do, copies for the teachers and whatever. School time came, I went and did the school stuff, and then afterwards I stayed and I worked as a custodian. Finally, I reached my senior year, and I had nowhere else to go. And I wanted to finish school so badly. So, the friend of mine, his mom said, look, I'll let you come and stay at my house, but you have to do your homework and you have to finish school. And you have to pay me $20 a week room and board. I was happy about that. I was making $40. So I did. I worked every day, and I gave her that $20 a week. And it was getting close to the end of the graduating year, and I didn't know how I was going to get further education, so I signed up for the Army. And they said, welcome and all that stuff, and I was happy figuring they'd help me with my education. 2 weeks before graduation, they came back and said, sorry, we can't use you. It was 1979. There was no war going on. They checked my medical records and they said, you only have one kidney that functions. Thanks, but no thanks. Now, years ago, they would have took you if your left arm was missing, right? Lucky me, I couldn't finish the way I wanted it. But I did graduate school. My sisters quit school. Even after me, my brothers and sisters quit. But I did graduate. And that graduation night, all the teachers got together and took up a collection for me because they saw how hard I worked. And the woman that took all that money from me all year long took that money and put it in a card and gave it back to me, my room and board money, because she saw how hard I worked. And the point I'm trying to make is that, any one of us can turn out a lot worse than we are. I certainly could have, with that kind of background. But I had the help of community. They were my family. Everybody was helping one way or another. I just didn't see it at the time. As you grow older, you realize that person helped me, this person. And it's wonderful to have that community feeling and to know that they all pitched in and they saw that one person. So when somebody needs help, you help them. Guide them if you have to. You're not always sure where they're going to go, but try. It means a lot. It has meant a lot to me over the years. My father died at the age of 59. Probably still was drunk. My mom died at the age of 73. Just around the time that she died, I went to see her and I forgave her because whatever it was that caused her to be the way she was, it was an illness, it was a sickness. So you have to learn to forgive as well. And it makes things a lot easier, not just for her, but for me. My dad was a truck driver. He was a tough dude. He would say to me, I don't believe in God. And I was in shock. I couldn't believe that. A man who had 7 kids, you watch those children born, you don't believe in God? And then on his deathbed, he looked at me and he said, tell me about this Jesus stuff. And I spoke to him for a good 20, 25 minutes. And he turned his head away and looked out the window and never spoke to me again about it. Now, I don't know if it helped him, but I'll tell you what, his passing helped me by talking and sharing something with him like that. But one thing I recognized more than anything else over these years, whether it was family, community, friends who have helped, I have never, ever walked my path alone. Even when some folks weren't there, God was always there. So this happens to be one of my favorite songs I want to do for you. I am a worn and weary traveler. I have walked so many miles. Though the path is long and winding, the Lord has been here all the while. The road has led me on this journey. Distant lands so far from home, but I've had no cause for fear. My Lord is always near. I have never walked alone. I have never walked alone. I have held the unseen hand. He will lead me safely home to the shores of Beulah land. Though I've had to walk by faith, through it all I've always known I'm walking with a friend who will be there to the end. I have never walked alone. Now my journey's almost over. My time on earth will reach an end. I reminisce about this good life and all the places I have been. But there's a better home that's waiting. So remember when I'm gone, I'll be in that promised land where I'll see those nail-scarred hands. I'll never walk alone. I have never walked alone. I have held the unseen hand. He will lead me safely home to the shores of Beulah land. Though I've had to walk by faith, through it all I've always known I'm walking with a friend who will be there in the end. I have never walked alone. I'm walking with a friend who's going to be there to the end. I have never walked alone. I know I'm running short on time. Just bear with me. Don't push me out the door yet. I get talking and forget that I'm supposed to do things. You'll lock me in? from being locked out. I've been there too. Are you having a nice time today? I wrote something down today, and I wanted to share it with you. I have to read it because my memory's getting bad. Some of you, it's going to happen to you. You wait till you get my age. It's true, my memory's getting worse and worse. It started when I started going to Florida. Picked up bad habits down there, like losing my memory. It's true. One day, not too long ago, I was standing in the shower and I was buck naked. And I had a pot roast in my hand. I'm thinking to myself, somewhere in this house there's a crock pot with a bar of soap in it. Isn't that awful? It happens. I wrote this down. Our culture is full of excuses. We know that. Instead of taking responsibility, so many today are getting around, dodging, and circumventing in an effort to own up to nothing. People don't want to take responsibility today. Spiritually, our culture begs the question, what does God do with all of these excuses? Do we have any excuse for not following Christ? I don't think so. There is no reason on earth for anyone to not surrender their lives to Jesus Christ. In Luke 9, 3 men were given the opportunity to follow Christ, and they all said no. But Jesus looked into their hearts, and he found them without excuses. One thing I love about the Lord Jesus Christ is that he never painted an overly rosy picture about discipleship, commitment, surrender, or ministry. You won't find any health and wealth gospel on the lips of Jesus. You're not going to find any prosperity gospel in the sermons of Jesus. Jesus never promised a Rolex on every wrist, a Mercedes in every garage, or a diamond on every finger. You won't find where Jesus ever said that if you'll follow him, every sea will be calm, every road will be smooth, every sky will be blue. He never said that. The Christian life is not a feast, it is a fight. It is not a banquet, it is a battle. If you become a Christian, you won't have to be looking for trouble. Trouble's going to come looking for you. And you got to be ready. I'm going to share that with you because it's very important. Keep in mind at all times. I had a friend in Florida. His name was Butch. And my friend Butch recently passed away. And he came to me and he said, you know, I've sung and I've listened to a lot of gospel music. He said, but I had a real favorite one that you did. I'd like to do this in honor of Butch. Whose phone's going on? It's a nice tune. Listen to the lyrics of the song, if you will. Lord, help me walk another mile, just one more mile. I'm tired of walking all alone. Lord, help me smile another smile, just one more smile. I know I just can't make it on my own. I never thought I needed help before,
to me, to lowly me. I need to feel the touch of your tender hand. Remove the chains of darkness. Let me see, Lord, let me see just where I fit into your master plan. I never thought I needed help before. I thought that I could get by myself. Now I know I just can't take it anymore. With a humble heart, I'm bending knee, I'm begging you, please help me. With a humble heart, I'm bending knee, I'm begging you, please help me. Now, I was asked by the pastor to do a couple of patriotic songs. We're so close to the 4th of July. July, don't pick on the way I say July. July. Where you going? I get better. But before I do this, you're going to... Okay. Before I do these patriotic numbers, do we have any veterans in the room? Veterans, raise your hand. Please give them a round of applause. No matter where I go, those of you that come out and see, you know I always mention the veterans. We take the time to thank them, not just for their service, because you know the service is what they paid you all that money for. So we thank you for your sacrifice. That's the one thing that doesn't get recognized enough. When you thank a veteran, please thank their spouses and their children, their grandchildren that you have sacrificed. But Penny, you are going to do something a little different. You're going to pass the basket at this time. Penny and Randy and the girls are going to do it. And we want you to dig deep today. I know you have lots of money. And that's what you're here for. Some people have already done that. We understand that. We're not going to put a net in front of you. But if you've given already, give some more. I'm like Jerry Lewis on a telethon. I'll come and get it. So while they're doing that, I'm going to sing this one more gospel song that some of you may recognize. Just be very generous because they need your help. We're doing a thing out there. Amazing grace, oh how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, oh but now was blind, but now I see. When we've been there for 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing say thus far, and grace will lead me home. Help me out now. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see. That time you all sounded good. All right, allow me to do two real quick patriotic songs, and then we'll cut you loose. I just hope that you had a great time today. I hope you received the message with you. Plenty of refreshments afterwards, like baked goods and stuff. I'll be right out. Nobody touches them until I go first. Every time I wait for other people, I get out there and there's just crumbs. Or there's cupcakes where somebody stuck their thumb in it to see what. And I find them and I suck the stuff off their thumb. I'm not shy. Just the way it is. Here's a song that was recorded by Mr. Lee Greenwood, just for our veterans, actually for all Americans. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget those who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defenders till today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget those who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defenders till today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God
service that you serve, my friend. The Megabee.
Yeah.